You want to know why I like making YouTube videos, brothers? Simple. Fellowship. You know, I like that brothers from all over the globe can come to one spot, and for at least, you know, a 7 to 12 minute, you know, period of time, however long a video is, you know, we can all just fellowship, you know, regardless of what we're dealing with on a daily basis as men, regardless of what titles we hold, regardless of what makes us different, at least for a small period of time, we can just come to one center area and fellowship and bounce ideas off of each other, right? But today I specifically want to talk to black men, right? And the reason is, you know, and I've said this before, you know, when it comes to our music, it seems like we're the only ones that are killing ourselves in every song, every single day on the airwaves, right? It seems like that in our communities, that in some of our communities, you know, we're doing things every day, you know, we're killing each other every day, and it's been out of hand, right? And for some reason, when it comes to our women, it seems like we're the only group of men that will bash our women strictly because they're black women. Does anybody ever ask themselves why?
Is it not written in your law that ye are gods? You understand what I'm saying? So it just depends on what level you on based on, whether you're human or whether you're immortal.
So it's 0 dark 30, and I'm about to take a trip to East Texas. Why is this? It's because today is one of the most important days of the year for me. Now, it's not Christmas. It's not New Year's Eve. It's my little sister's birthday, right? Now, why is this one of the most important days of the year for me? The reason why this is one of the most important days of my life, guys, is because a number of years ago, I realized that, you know, the reason why I'm not in prison, the reason why I'm not, you know, dead, you know, the reason why I'm in the situation that I am in right now is because of the women in my life, right? And specifically, I'm talking about, you know, the black women in my immediate family. So I made it, you know, part of my life mission that as long as I live, that, you know, I will always let these women know, you know, the impact they had on my life and how much I appreciate them going against the grain of society to make sure that I was, and that I still remain in good position. So what's that variable that makes things different when it comes to black men and black women, right? You know, there are several content creators that make information about female nature and how a man should choose the upper echelon of women and leave, you know, the certain, you know, bottom tier of women alone, right? But I never hear, you know, Asian men saying, you know, leave all Asian women alone, right? I never hear white men saying, you know, the white woman is not worth a dang, right? I never hear Hispanic men talking, you know, just bashing his women strictly because they're Hispanic. But when it comes to black men, you know, I see several men just out in the street, whether, you know, on the streets or on YouTube or in other, you know, channels of the internet, that will bash a woman strictly because she's a black woman and nothing else, right? Now, I'll say this, and I'll keep it 100. You know, when it comes to black women, you know, I do see, you know, issues that, at least from my experience, that stand out, you know, compared to other women. You know, I know black women, man, we are increasing in mental issues. We are increasing, you know, the number of women that are taking on more masculine traits. You know, we are increasing on the number of women that are having multiple children by multiple men. You know, but at the same time, if I'm honest with myself, I can easily say that black men are having their own sets of issues that other races of men don't really go through, right? You know, I believe the first time I dated a woman that had a child, I was like 18. I was in my teens, and we talked very briefly, right? But I can say this. I can say over the last, you know, 20 plus years, 25 years, give or take, you know, I've dated a number of women that had, you know, a child, right? You know, that child might have been young, the child might have been older. But this is what I can easily say. I can easily say that of all the women that I've entertained or dated that had a child, of all these years, I've only met one, quote unquote, baby daddy, right? Now what does that tell you, guys? I can easily say this. When it comes to, men being active in their child's lives, guys, I can tell you, as black men, man, we are dropping the ball in that area. No cap. We are dropping the ball in that area. But this is the thing, right? When I think about the pros and cons of both, when I think about the positive and negatives as far as black men and black women, it all comes down to this one thing, guys. See, in the 1700s, a man by the name of Willie Lynch, you know, he pulled up on the beaches of Virginia and he gave the slave owners a spiel, right? He said that if you do these certain things, that I guarantee you'll get these certain results, right? Now, the thing is, when you sit back and when you step back as a man and just look at the world from a bird's eye point of view, you can see the differences between, the black men and other races, the black women and other races. And guys, I'm telling you, it's a direct reflection of this speech that Willie Lynch gave.
You must use dark-skinned slaves versus light-skinned slaves. And the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female.
Now, knowing that systematically at this point in history that I'm supposed to hate the black woman, for that reason alone, guys, I can't. Nor do I want to, right? See, you have to really dig a little deeper into the psychology or the philosophy of Willie Lynch, right? This is what he said. He said, if you take the strongest of men, right? If you take the alphas, right? And if you make an example of them, break them down to the point of dang near death. He said, what you'll see, he said, you might not see it in this first generation, but in time, what you will have is a group of black men that live in fear. And he said on a subconscious level, because these men live in fear, they will begin to hate their women. He said due to the fact that these men are no longer in position or strong enough, to love and protect the women will hate the men. And you just have a chain reaction. He said if you can get them to this point, he said you will have them in a slave mentality for at least 300 years, maybe 1,000. So again, knowing this, I can't hate the black woman. You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand that all the slaves that lived over the last, few hundred years, all slaves didn't make it out alive. You know what I'm saying? All slaves didn't sign up for the program. There were some people, men and women, that said, you know what? I'm not playing this game. And as a result of that, we're killed, we're hung, we're drugged by horses and all kind of other things. But for the remainder, the descendants of a lot of these people are the ones that are living in fear now. So I finally made it, You know I had to spoil little sis with the Dior and of course a little teddy bear. See if she like it. Hey, what you doing? Hey, Chelsea. Hey, what y'all up to? AC! My brother-in-law right there. My sister, my niece. Now, one thing I'm aware of, I'm aware that all black men didn't have the same support system that I had growing up, right? And I became aware of this about 2 years ago. I made a video called Honor Amongst Thieves, right? And in this video, I talked about how households with single women or with very submissive, men as husbands, I talked about how these households, if there was a daughter and a son in that household, that for some reason, the woman would elevate the daughter to move in life like a man, and she would suppress the son to move like her, right? Now, this is fresh out of the letter of Willie Lynch. He said that if you can get, these people to a certain mindset, this is what you'll see in time, right? So I made a video about it, and it was crazy because guys just started commenting and they were saying things like, I thought this was just an isolated situation. Like I've seen this, but I thought it was, just me or just, this person that I knew that experienced this. It was brother after brother just telling his story or telling an example he was aware of. And I'm saying to myself, like this is part of the system. Like this is the way it was supposed to be. See, the thing is, you can't fix a problem unless you know from the source from which it came. You know what I'm saying? And you can't be mad at black women for moving a certain way. For one, if they don't know why they're moving like that, or they're unaware of why they're moving like that, right? But my question is this: like, at what point in time are we going to become, just tired of dealing with all the toxicity? At what point in time are we going to get tired of being angry at black women? At what point in time is a black woman going to be tired of being mad at the black man? At some point in time, you would think we would just say, you know what, it's time to start turning these things around. But we first have to identify the problem, the source, and then we have to wake up. All right, guys, you always hear me talk about my sister, and it's finally time y'all get to meet her. This is my sister, my little sister, Veronica. Now the reason I came out today for her birthday, and the reason I said that her birthday is one of the most special days of the year, is because just like all the women in my family, they were there for me, and they're a lot of the reason why I am what I am today, right? Now, one thing about my little sister, and this is something I've never told her, is that the reason I hold my sister so high is because when I was young, guys, my sister had to double as not only as my older sister, but like a brother. There was a point in time in my life, and I look back and I thought about back when I was preteen, man. My sister's the one that taught me how to do certain manly things, how to fight, how to conduct myself as a man. We went rounds a lot of times when I was young, and even growing up now, this is my mentor. You guys wonder why I move the way I move, why I do the things I do, is because this is my example. And when I have a problem, this is my go-to. This is who I'm talking to on a regular. But any issue come up, this is who I'm calling first before anybody. And she's saying, this is how you move. This is how you handle it. And she's assisting me in handling it. So I just want to tell you, I appreciate you. I thank you. And I love you.
I love you too.
At some point in time, as black men, we're going to have to start rebuilding this whole thing, right? And I know what you're saying. I know a few of you brothers are already typing comments saying, so the black woman is damaged, leave her alone, run for the hill, all this stuff. Brother, I get what you're saying, but for this specific video, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to a specific number of brothers, and it may just be one brother. Because you got to understand this. You can't call yourself a leader unless you're responsible for it all. You can't call yourself a leader unless you're taking ownership of the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? For example, brothers are killing themselves by the hour in Chicago. You know whose fault that is? It's my fault.
You got young girls coming up, through, young ages, man, early teens, and they think it's normal. They think it's cool. They think it's acceptable to be online showing certain body parts and twerking and doing all this stuff. You know whose fault that is? That's Soul's fault. Because see, I understand that if I'm going to call myself a leader in any capacity, I have to be responsible for anything. So the thing is, men are going to have to start taking ownership of it all. That's the only way we're going to fix it. And I'm not saying every man needs to be some, demonstrate, leadership at a certain, degree. But every man needs to do his part. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to look different for everybody. This morning when I woke up, I saw a Kevin Samuels video, right? And I'll be honest, that was the first Kevin Samuels video I'd ever seen, right? Minus the small, few-minute clip that he had that went viral. Me and a few friends showed that clip with me, man, and we had discussions, and I kind of formed an opinion, just based on that. I didn't know, what this guy normally talked about. I know it's relationship-based. But today I saw it's a video that just released. I can't think of the name of that website. The white guy with the tattoo on his neck. It's a big podcast. But I kind of skimmed through it, man. And I'll be honest. A lot of people say things about Brother Samuels. And I think maybe his approach could be rough. It could be whatever. But it's his own approach, But my opinion of him, regardless of what you may think or what I may think of his personal life or anything else, I think that ultimately this brother's goal is to heal the black community. I really do. I really do, man. Now, I don't know if I'll ever see another video of his, but that's just an example, man, that everybody has to do their part if we're going to get it back right. But it takes everybody taking that first step, guys. We have to be moving towards something positive instead of all this negative stuff, man. So you want to know why Soul doesn't bash the black woman and will never bash the black woman, right? Well, all that red pill stuff that I was talking about old channel, when I talk about female nature and all this stuff, you know where I got all that stuff from? See, minus, the life experience that I've gone through, over the last 25, whatever plus years, I had an aunt, right? My Aunt Mary, from the age of around 10 or 11 years old, guys, the stuff that I talk about now, female nature and all this stuff, my aunt was cramming this stuff down my throat every single time I saw her. She told me how women move. She told me how some women would cheat. She told me that some women wanted to have babies by you. She told me about the child support system. Growing up at an early age, guys. Now I have my son living with me and I can take care of him as a man because she mentally prepared me to be in that position, right? So I can't hate the black woman. I wake up every single day. I don't report to a boss. I don't report to a job. I don't have to set an alarm clock. And every single day I wake up, my bank account is just a little bit bigger than it was the day before, right? Why is this? It's because a black woman, my mom, gave me the game. See, I saw the way to move as an entrepreneur a long time ago, guys. Back when I was young, she gave me the example on the discipline required. She gave me the blueprint on how to move as a man on his own without having any leadership, without having any boss to report to, right? I had that example. So how can I be mad at the black woman? My sister. Now, my sister is, I'm telling you, my sister is my direct mentor. My sister is my advisor. My sister is my legal team. 24 hours a day, I can call my sister up and get advice. And she's going to be like, you know what, bro? Look, bro, this is how you need to move. Sometimes she'll call me up and say, you know what? I know you think things are going like this, but this is how you need to move in this situation. This is how you need to protect yourself in this situation. And I'm aware that every man doesn't have that. But how can I bash a black woman when I have that level of support? Now, at the end of the day, guys, I'll be honest. I can appreciate the tools and tactics and laws that Willie Lynch used to compose this letter, right? I can see the powers that he used to control masses of people. Think about it. The art of war, divide and conquer, right? Think about what I talk about, a hypnotic rhythm by, Napoleon Hill writes about in Outwitting the Devil. That's what you see black people in right now. We're in a state of hypnotic rhythm and we can't get out of it, right? Think about the law of polarity. That was his greatest tool right there. Think about this. Think about, think about the law of polarity. In other words, that's saying that, every single thing in this universe has to have its polar opposite present or it can't exist. Think about east and west. If there is no east, west doesn't exist because it just is. So east has to be represented for it to be. Think about the North Pole and the South Pole. They need each other to exist. Think about if the North Pole said, oh man, screw the South Pole. We don't need them. Don't deal with the South Pole. Do you understand what they're doing is really wiping themselves out? So think about when you have the black man talking about the black woman. He doesn't understand that what he's doing by trying to eliminate the black woman, what he's doing is actually committing spiritual suicide. Because if she's not present, he can't exist. So at the end of the day, guys, it's no longer about looking back at history. It's no longer about hating a race because we're in a certain situation. Going forward, it's simply about us loving ourselves.